So this will give you an idea of some of the movies I like. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel for a very special video. I'm doing a collaboration video with my good buddy Eric over at the Death Twitch, okay? So, in case you don't know about his channel, he focuses on like horror movies, and I would go so far to say like more retro horror movies, okay? Kind of stuff I dig a lot. You know, I was obviously the shirt I'm wearing, Halloween. That's Eric's favorite movie, as far as I know. It still is. I know it was when we did this collaboration about 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago. We did a collaboration. Eric invited his viewers to join him in a collaboration of why we love horror movies. Okay, so I'll probably leave a link in the description below to that video. So yeah, that was like in 2015 when we did that collaboration. So yeah, Eric asked if we would be interested in doing a collab again. So I was like, yeah, sure, why not? You know, so just to get some legal stuff out of the way, I remember before he wanted me to, you know, I had to like basically give him permission. So yes, you, Eric Harrison of the Death Twitch channel, have my permission to use all images and sound and footage from this video to use at your discretion for the purposes of this collaboration. So with that out of the way, he basically had some things here, so I made a list. So So to introduce myself, you know, to Eric's viewers, my name's Justin. I go by Retro on here because my channel is Retro Reviews. Okay, so but yeah, I like retro horror movies probably the best. I'm not big on gore. Okay, I always thought like gore and scary are two different things. Gore and horror, right? So Eric asked me, there's some things here to go, so I just got a list here of things to go down. So define horror as a genre, okay? The dictionary will tell us that horror is an intense feeling of fear and panic or shock. So to expand on that briefly, to me horror means it's a shock to your system from your like normal everyday life, like, you know, just your normal routine, and you're like thrust in a situation to where it's like this is serious. There's a threat. You feel threatened, okay, by either this individual, this creature, whatever the main antagonist of the movie is. You feel threatened by them because they display power, they display abilities. And so that's like kind of what horror to me is. It's like it dives into the uncertainty. You don't know what all they're capable of, number one. Number two, so you don't know what kind of evil, sinister plans they have for you. You just know it's not good. And you have to do something. You just can't just sit idly by, or else. So you're trying to figure out what their plans are so you can counter, right? So you can basically counter-strike. Basically, you want to get back to your life. You want to get back to your normal everyday life to where you feel safe and secure and everything's hunky-dory. You want to get back to that, but this person or creature, they don't have that in mind for you. So you go into survival mode, and it's like you may have to outsmart them because physically you can't go toe to toe with them. You know, they would obliterate you, okay, if you tried to go toe to toe. So you might have to get creative and outsmart them or outwit them. That might be the only way. Okay? So that's kind of what horror is like you're dealing with something that's basically out of your realm, okay? You're kind of like in their world, and you're like, you gotta have to use your smarts if you're going to survive. So yeah, you have this uncertainty about what they can do to you, but you got some kind of a sense where they possess the ability to cause you great harm, great bodily harm, a lot of pain, maybe even kill you, take your life, or even much worse than that, cause you to become one of the living dead. Something to think about there. It's like it removes you from your daily routine, and it, you know, when you're thinking about what am I going to have for dinner tonight, or did I pay my water bill on time? You go from that to fearing for your life, your survival, right? Because you value your life and you want to continue your existence, right? So that's pretty much horror to me. Okay, so my favorite subgenres of horror are the classic slashers like Halloween, or our good buddy Jason Voorhees here. So yeah, Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees. To me, those are the two top dogs when it comes to slashers. But also vampire movies. I'm going to break the rules a little bit here, Eric. I'm going to say the classic slashers and vampire movies. Classic lore vampire, that is. Not that Twilight crap. My first horror movie experience, well, basically I'm wearing it here. John Carpenter's masterpiece, Halloween. That's like the first movie I remember, because, you know, it came out in 1978. And, you know, I was 3 years old at the time, so I don't think I saw it then. I probably saw it maybe in the early 80s when I was a little older, probably like when it was on TV or something. But I just remember it creeped me out, like the music, it was scary. And it was like, you know, and I'm like, Boogeyman, that is my first horror movie experience. And it's like, so yeah, I would say I got started off on the right foot, right? I got started off with a good one. The next question is, has horror movies ever given me nightmares? Yes, I've had dreams and nightmares about Jason and Michael basically chasing me in the woods or around the neighborhood. So like they was after me, and I was trying to survive, you know. So yeah, I've had a few dreams of that. The next question is, has being a horror fan affected my life? And I would say yes, okay? To me, horror is, for me, it's an escape, okay? It's an escape from my daily grind, you know, your 9 to 5 or whatever kind of work schedule you have, your normal routine, you know, you get up, you do your thing, you know, you go to a job or you do whatever, and life has its stresses and worries, okay? And sometimes you just want to escape that. You want to escape from all that, and you just want to not think about too much and just be transported into this realm of maybe the supernatural, or, you know, black magic, or vampires, or ghosts, or witches, or werewolves, or a psychotic killer that, you know, likes to wear a mask and doesn't talk, because that was like the cool thing about the slashers, Michael and Jason, is they didn't talk. With Jason and Michael, it was always that mystique and mystery of why are they doing this? Because since they would not talk, you could not reason with them, you could not bargain with them. Almost like kind of like the Terminator, right? See what I did there? And so if you can, you know, for an hour and a half or 2 hours, if you can like just, you know, basically get some stress relief. I know that may sound strange, but yeah, horror movies, and when it comes down to it, can be a stress relief, because it gives you an escape from your everyday grind and troubles and worries. So yeah, that's pretty much it. The next question is, does horror turn me on? Now that's can be like a loaded question there, Eric. Okay, but I will say they definitely get the juices flowing. Okay, they get your blood pumping, because it can be an adrenaline rush when you are in that. When you thrust yourself into that character's situation to where they're being chased. Okay, they're being chased and pursued by this maniac that's trying to kill them. Okay, or yeah, that can get the blood flowing. Okay, now as far as it could lean towards a turn on when you're talking vampires, because they're with vampires always like going for the neck, right? So it's very common knowledge, like a lot of women, they love their neck to be, that's like a turn on, right? So when a vampire goes for the neck, there's something sexual about that and arousing. And especially when you watch their reaction, let's say the vampire bites their neck, right? And you watch that woman's reaction on her face. A lot of times it does not look like, the expression on their face is not one of pain. It looks like one of pleasure, one of like ecstasy, right? To where they're like almost like basically almost like they're going to have an orgasm because he just bit her neck. Like that's the sensation and the feeling, and it's like going through their body of he's taking their blood, right? But that's just what I get from what I see. So yeah, it could be looked at as a turn on. Like vampires are considered, very somewhat sexy, alluring, intriguing, because they have that. Sometimes they can have that charm up front, but before they reveal their ugliness, their hideous side to them. Fright Night. The 1985 Fright Night is a good example of that. He was very charming, very suave, but when he vamped out, he would talk about a fierce looking thing. Horror can be a turn on when it comes, especially vampires, right? Now slashers, I would say that's going to get your blood moving, an adrenaline rush. Otherwise, I might question somebody's sanity if they're going to tell me that watching basically like gore porn, like watching people, the pure gore and watching somebody getting hacked to pieces, I would probably question their mental state if that like turned them on. Okay, just saying. I'm not trying to be mean here, but yeah. So Eric, you did mention that we could share a couple things. So yeah, as far as my favorite subgenre, slashers and vampires. Okay, so I'm going to go with my favorite slasher, Friday the 13th Part 3, VHS copy, and here's the back. Good screenshots of the movie there. That's my favorite slasher. That's where Jason gets the hockey mask for the first time from Shelley. The second movie for my the second one is the 1985 Fright Night. And yes, that is Chris Sarandon's autograph, better known as Jerry Dandridge, the vampire next door. So I got a chance to meet Chris Sarandon at the Steel City Con in Pennsylvania in December of 2019, and that's where he autographed this for me. And I also got my picture taken with him, so I'll include that right here. So yeah, that was a very special time. To be able to meet Chris, so yeah, I would say Fright Night, the original 1985 Fright Night, is my favorite vampire movie, okay? Because for vampire movies, I love classic vampire lore. And this movie has it all. It's got, you know, the old repellent, but you can repel the vampires with the cross, holy water. They sleep in the coffins by day, and he rises after sundown. He cannot be, sunlight is fatal, it burns, they catch on fire. That's why I love it so much. It has the classic vampire lore, right? For a somewhat, you know, modern movie. I mean, I guess you would say it's a modern classic now, since it has been, like, you know, 35 years since it's been released. But it's still, like, newer than, say, you know, 1930 Dracula, 1950s Dracula. So it's still, you know, it's a classic. It's a modern classic now. But that's why I like that one so much. And Eric, you also asked me to recommend a underrated horror movie. Okay? So I'm going to go with The Haunting with Liam Neeson and Catherine Zeta-Jones. Now this is the remake, and I didn't know at the time it was a remake. This is from 1999, was when it was made. But I also have the original, which is from 1963, okay? Now I watched the remake first, because I didn't know the original existed. So I watched the remake first, and I love it. It's, you know, I mean, it's not ultra gory, okay? But again, to me, horror does not equal gore. Horror is that fear, right? That fear, that uncertainty, that shock to the system. So I believe this movie delivers it. And even the original is good, because I did go back and watch the original. Now I'm like, to me, the remake, it paid tribute to the original, right? So I can dig when a remake can do that. I can dig that. But just a little bit about this movie, why I recommend it. You know, you can see from the cover there, it's a big old mansion, so a big haunted house. It's the ghost of the guy who built the house, you know, remains there. He haunts the place. It doesn't take long for you to get the feeling that this movie is creepy, okay? Because it does have like a couple servants that still like take care of the house. And even they're creepy. The way they talk about it, they say, nobody will come and help you after dark. Nobody will come to this place. They stay away. And when they left, they shut the gate and locked it. So when these people, you know, visited this house, they were trapped there. And this ghost, okay, basically can control the house. You can see on the back here, the footage, that woman in the bed. Those things around her, that's like part of the bed. That's like the wood. So that ghost was able to control that, basically make that wood almost turn into like legs and trap her there. When you got a ghost that's able to manipulate and control the house and things in the house to use against you, to physically use against you, that's like pretty out there. You know, that's like much more than just a traditional haunting where he's like, there's like scaring you. Okay, this definitely is not your Casper the Ghost story. Okay. So yeah, it's not big on gore or even a huge body count, like far as people dying. But to me, that's like what makes this movie so great. It can scare the crap out of you without doing all that. You just get the sense that this spirit has been there for a long time. He has some power. He is powerful. And it's like, it builds up as the movie goes along to where you're like, man, how are they going to get out of here? Because the house is like locked down. The gate outside is locked down. They even try to like crash a car into the gate to try to escape. That don't work. So it's like, yeah, I would say very underrated. It's not rated very high on IMDb, and I would give this one a try if you haven't seen it already. So Eric, I'd like to thank you for inviting me to do this collaboration with you again. It's always good to hear from you. And as you said before, those years ago, one of these days we're all going to be in the dirt, right? But until then, let's keep it going. Let's do this every so often. I think it's a good thing. So until next time, keep it retro.